Mo Chara! Free Mo Chara!
Alex.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
We arrived at the Westminster Magistrates' Court in London around 9 a.m. August the 20th for the court appearance of high-profile Kneecap's Liam O'Haney, who is facing terror charges for allegedly holding a Hezbollah flag earlier in the year. A crowd had already assembled, clearly identified by the colourful Palestinian flags, Irish tricolours fluttering in a light breeze, placards and numerous creative signs expressed the mood of the people. It could be described as a great mistake, authorised by the British establishment to facilitate a galvanising platform for some of the greatest minds and artists of our time, right at their front door. The parallels between Britain's oldest colony and that of Palestine were clearly articulated to a large audience in London's WC1. A new street sign which read "Ethnic Cleansing in Palestine" was clearly visible from the front door of the Westminster Magistrates' Court. Apparently, the Metropolitan Police didn't expect such large numbers to attend. Perhaps they actually believed that their new anti-terror laws would deter people. But as defiant hundreds gathered, despite the threat of possible arrest, the Metropolitan Police had no option but to partly close a main artery in central London. It was like an open-air concert outside the Magistrates' Court as the growing crowd awaited the arrival of the Kneecap trio. Music and song echoed from a makeshift stage that was approximately 20 metres from the front door of the courthouse. The talented musicians, Carja Collective, performed songs between speeches and acts from various artists and speakers. The atmosphere was electrifying as the crowd chanted for the freedom of Palestine and joined in song with the musical performers. Here are some short recordings from where I was standing as follows. One, the fields of Athenry was adapted to the fields of Palestine. Christy Moore, Ride On, The Dawning of the Day, Oh, I wish I was back home in Gaza. Stand by me, whiskey in the jar. I fought the law.
Mo Chara! Free, free, Mo Chara! Free, 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 Mo Chara! Free, free, Mo Chara!
renowned rapper Spate gave a brilliant performance. He described himself as a Palestinian Irish rapper.
So it's only right that we come and stand in solidarity with them. Alright, so I'm going to start off with some spoken word. And it goes like this. What's human? Descendants of Isaac Newton. If an Israeli see a Palestinian, he'll shoot him. What's human? Go loot him. The Mark Duggan shooting. Innocent human.
Kneecap arrived. I could only capture the mood of the crowd from where I was standing as follows.
Free Mo Chara! 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 Alex. Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
While Mo Chara was in the British court awaiting proceedings and an Irish language interpreter, because he refused to conduct proceedings in English, preferring to use the stolen language of his native tongue. Meanwhile, we heard from a number of powerful voices. In less than 7 minutes, Frank McGuinness made one of the most powerful speeches when he ascended the stage. He introduced himself as someone who comes from Britain's oldest colony, born in Dublin and brought up in the occupied 6 counties of Ireland. To a resounding approval and applause, his speech must have rocked the foundations of Westminster Magistrates' Court. A lawyer himself, with a firm knowledge of the law, Frank McGuinness reminded those assembled that the situation in Gaza was horrific. As we're speaking, he said, the Zionist tanks are rolling into Gaza City as the apartheid state of Israel is pursuing to its fascist ideology. This is a recording of his speech from where I was standing. As we were reminded by him that the complicit in genocide Metropolitan Police are hyper-scrutinising our speech, placards and social media posts to try and find terms of the Terrorism Act 2000, to try and insinuate that we are terrorists and anti-Semitic for opposing their little Jewish state of Ulster. However, despite scrutiny and the threat of criminalisation, a rapturous response from the people validated Frank McGuinness's assertion that we must all loudly proclaim our support for the Palestinian people to use armed support for self-defense against a genocidal fascist regime. His speech weaved in an internationalist perspective from Algeria to Vietnam that lays bare the brutality of Western imperialism.
Supporting the Palestinian struggle against Israeli colonialism, apartheid and genocide. Please welcome to the stage Frank McGuinness.
Good man, Frank! Get it to
It's
them!
great to be here, although the circumstances are, of course, horrific. As we're speaking, the Zionist tanks are rolling into Gaza City, and the apartheid state of Israel, pursuant to its fascist ideology of Zionism, has murdered all of the journalists. Of course, the people of Palestine try to step into the shoes of their slain comrades and to document what we're witnessing, but it is beyond dire. The situation is beyond urgent. It is a genocide, and we must not become numb to this. For those who don't know me, my name's Frank McGuinness. I come from Britain's oldest colony. I was born in Dublin and grew up in the occupied north of Ireland. I'm here to suggest three things. The first is that the British Empire, or the so-called United Kingdom, is in a crisis. The crisis of Zionism is a crisis of this state, because this state is backing the genocide. The Brits are at it again. They are once more enacting a genocide. The second thing I am here to suggest is that the Palestinian people have a right to use armed force to resist the apartheid state. We must all loudly proclaim our support for the Palestinian right to use armed force in self-defense against the genocidal fascist regime. And the third thing I'm here to suggest is that we are all anti-Zionists now. There is no space for anyone to continue identifying with that fascist ideology. We must say it loud and clear. Zionism is fascism. We are all anti-fascist. We are all anti-Zionist. Those three things, this British state and these the violent enforcement arm of the state that you see surrounding you today, the Metropolitan Police are of course complicit in this crisis. They have hyper-scrutinized our speech, they've hyper-scrutinized our placards, they've hyper-scrutinized our social media to try and find some foot that we may have put wrong, to try and test whether we've contravened the ridiculous terms of the Terrorism Act 2000, to try and insinuate that we are terrorists and anti-Semites for opposing their little loyal Jewish Ulster, as the apartheid state of Israel is what's called. The British state is up to its neck in Palestinian blood. The blood will never wash off. Keir Starmer will forever be remembered as the war criminal at the top of the British Empire that presided over this genocide. Liam should not be on the inside of a dock. Keir Starmer will hopefully one day see the inside of a dock of a war crimes tribunal. His colleagues in the British Empire who did this to Palestinians. The Terrorism Act 2000 is in a complete legitimacy crisis, not just because of its use to try and attack the comrades in Kneecap. They're using it to try and attack everyone. They've made an astonishing mistake in trying to ban my friends in Palestine Action. That group should never have been attacked in the way that it was. Those laws should never have been passed. The British state has no business lecturing anyone about violence. They have no business lecturing anyone about racism. They have no business lecturing anyone on how to resist colonialism. They are one of the most violently racist colonial empires in human history. They should sit down and shut up. The second point is that Palestinians have a right to armed resistance against this fascist empire as it attempts to enact a genocide against them. You think about the good people in the Front Libération Nationale, the FLN, that liberated Algeria from the French colonizers, good friends of the British Empire. The people of Algeria fought with guns and with bombs against the people colonizing them at staggering cost to themselves. Let me remind you, it took 1 million Algerians, 1 million Algerian lives to drive those French colonizers out of Algeria. But they did it. It is one of the most successful instances of anti-colonial resistance in human history. the Viet Cong. At staggering cost to themselves, it cost 2 million Vietnamese lives to drive the Yankee imperialists, again, good friends and allies of the British murderers in the British Empire. 2 million people it took to drive the Yankee imperialists out of Vietnam, but they did it. Anti-colonial resistance, Frantz Fanon said it best, is always a violent phenomenon. Palestinians have a right to pick up guns. They have a right to fight against the apartheid state that is trying to commit a genocide against them. We must support that right loudly and clearly and unambiguously. We must support the Palestinian right to armed resistance. The third point I'm here to make is that whatever people might have thought of it before October 7th, maybe people weren't paying attention. Maybe people hadn't noticed that for its more than 100 years of history, the ideology of political Zionism was always premised on the most dehumanizing racism.
Yep.
All of that room for ambiguity has been eviscerated by all of these Zionist bombs. There are some people still trying to sit on the fence on the question of Zionism. That fence was obliterated by a Palestinian bulldozer on October 7th. There is no fence left to sit on. You are either an anti-Zionist in favor of people who've been herded into a concentration camp and told that they're animals, breaking out of that concentration camp, reasserting their dignity and reasserting their humanity, or you are in favor of the fascists who put them in that concentration camp in the first place. We are all anti-fascist. When confronted with fascism, we don't back down. We don't compromise. We fought the fascists at Cable Street in this very town. We defeated the fascists in the Second World War, and we will defeat them again because the alternative does not bear thinking about. When confronted with fascism, we stand up, we fight back. No passaran. We are all anti-fascist. We are all anti-Zionist now. Comrades, don't be complacent. Do not be complacent. Your government, our so-called government, the British Empire that colonised my homeland and that colonised Palestine is at it again. They're engaged in the mass murder of Palestinians because they're viewed as a racial threat to the demographic purity of their little loyal Jewish Ulster. We must not be complacent. Coming to this rally is not enough. We must escalate our opposition to their genocide until it is definitively defeated, until a ceasefire is called, and from there we must dismantle the apartheid state of Israel and consign it to the dustbin of history. Glory to the resistance and its martyrs. Shukriya.
To wipe out peoples in their pursuit of occupation and plantation. Shortly after Frank McGuinness left the stage, another powerful voice, paediatrician neurologist Dr. Omar Abdel Manan, conveyed striking comparisons of the Irish and Palestinian struggles. Dr. Omar, who previously worked in Gaza's hospitals for a decade, reminded the Assembly this court case is about trying to silence voices that they cannot control. Voices that link the freedom for Ireland and around the world, and the struggle for freedom in Palestine and beyond. This is a recording of Dr. Omar's speech, taken from where I was standing.
As fellow human beings, I stand before you not just as a doctor, but as a witness, a health worker who has seen what happens when those in power fear the truth. I've worked in Gaza and the West Bank for a decade in hospitals barely functioning from decades of siege, alongside the same medics who are now risking their lives to save children while our government aids and abets a genocidal, psychopathic, settler colonial state.
Yes.
I've worked in the UK where health workers are threatened, smeared and disciplined for daring to speak out. Whether about the destruction of our NHS or the Zionist infiltration of our workplaces with multi-million-dollar contracts to Palantir to mine patient data, or the crimes carried out abroad in our name and with our tax money by a genocidal state. And I can tell you this, whether in the killing fields of Rafah or in the halls of Westminster, when the powerful speak the truth, they always come after those who dare to speak it. That is exactly what is happening to Mo Chara and Kneecap. This is not about a technicality in the law. This is about the British state trying to silence voices it cannot control. Voices that carry memory, resistance, identity. Voices that link the struggle for freedom in Ireland and around the world with the struggle for freedom in Palestine and beyond. Just as the bombing of hospitals is not an accident but a deliberate strategy, so too are those attacks on freedom of speech, deliberate. Putting Mo Chara in a courtroom is not about justice, it is about fear, it is about intimidation, it is about shutting us up, and good luck to them. Because they know music is dangerous. Music carries truth faster than any government press release. Songs carry memory, anger and defiance. Songs fuel liberation movements. That's why they want Mo Chara in a prison cell, to send a message. Step out of line and we'll come for you next. But comrades, this is not new. The British state has always feared the Irish voices of resistance. They called freedom fighters terrorists, whilst covering up their own massacres in Ballymurphy, in Derry and in countless unmarked graves. They tried to erase the hunger strikes from our history books. Men who gave their lives rather than let their dignity be broken. Men like Bobby Sands, who from his jail prior to his death by hunger strike said this: "They will never break me because the desire for freedom and the freedom of the Irish people is in my heart." The day will dawn when all of the people of Ireland will have the desire for freedom in their hearts. It is then we will see the rising of the moon. And just as Bobby Sands' words lit a fire in Ireland, so too do they echo in Palestine, because the desire for freedom is in the heart of every man, woman and child in Gaza. Every prisoner in Israeli prisons and black sites, every family still clinging to hope under siege. The day will dawn on Palestine too, will see the rising of its moon. In apartheid South Africa, they banned songs, jailed poets, exiled singers, because they knew culture could unite the people against them. But the music will spread. From the townships to the world stage, the truth travelled faster than their senses. Mandela himself said culture is a weapon of resistance. And here, and in Ireland, and in Palestine, that weapon is still in our hands. As health workers, we know what happens when the truth is silenced. When whistleblowers are gagged, patients die. When journalists are targeted, war crimes multiply. When artists are censored, injustice festers in the dark. Truth is like medicine. It only works when it reaches the people who actually need it. That's why this case matters to all of us. Not just fans of Kneecap, to the people of Ireland, not just the people of Ireland, but everyone who believes the state must never own our voices. So let us be clear. To those who imprison Irish Republicans while branding themselves or yourselves as peacemakers, we saw you. To the politicians who funded apartheid in South Africa whilst calling yourselves Democrats, we saw you. To the government arming Israel's genocide while claiming to defend human rights, we see you. And to Keir Starmer, who called for the complete siege of Gaza in October 2023 with no electricity and water, we see you. You cannot hide. This is not about justice, this is about power, and your fear of people cannot be tamed. So we say, we stand with Mo Chara, we stand with Kneecap, we stand with every truth teller who refused to be silent, from Belfast to Gaza, from Soweto to Ramallah. Because you can ban a song, but you cannot kill the melody. You can jail a singer, but you cannot lock up the truth. You can silence the people, but the heartbeat of resistance will always outlive your lies. Our message is clear. No peace without justice. No peace without justice. No silence, no surrender.
Shanisa Hafiz from Cage International told media that our solidarity here is not just to stand with Kneecap, but also to point out the hypocrisy of the British state and to say that we will continue to stand with anyone who is criminalised and simultaneously hold the British state accountable. Award-winning Dundalk harpist and activist Rosie Murphy played the harp, the symbol of Ireland's roots, to accompany poet Abu Layla, a rendition of a story of resistance and resilience that kept the crowd spellbound. To an enormous applause, the Kneecap trio emerged from the court, surrounded by a host of cameras and media. The Kneecap trio took to the stage. Liam Ogue reminded everyone that the story is not about him, while Israel commits genocide at the same time.
Just saying a few words here quickly. Thank you everybody for coming up. We appreciate it. Obviously it's great to see the support out here. We know this story is more than just about me. It's more than Kneecap. This is a story about Palestine and us as a distraction from the real story. We know unfortunately this story will end up in the media today while Israel commits genocide at the same time. So everybody continue to speak about Palestine. Free Palestine. Thank you all for coming. Chucky Ireland.
It was an incredibly energetic event. We were surrounded by media as they scrambled for interviews as the crowd began to drift away. Navarra Media NM carried interviews that further made the connection between Ireland and Palestine as follows. Asked if it was significant that the person in court to face terror charges is Irish, One young man replied, "There is a long history of trumped up terrorism charges being used against the Irish." He lambasted the decision to take Liam O'Hanley to court as a hypocritical application of the Terrorism Act. Asked if the government underestimated the strength of feeling that this case would provoke amongst Irish people both in London, in Ireland and around the world, the young man replied, "They absolutely did misunderstand. But that's not the first time. I think in Ireland we expect to be misunderstood by an imperial state who maybe think the problem with the Irish was that they didn't want to be British, when really we are our own distinct ancient people with our own customs and our own ideology." Dr. Omar was given voice a second time when he was interviewed by MM. He reiterated, history speaks for itself. They know full well that Irish resistance has been a thorn in their side, to say the least, of the British Empire throughout history. He described the many clear parallels between what's happening in Ireland and what's happening in Palestine. He described the forced starvation, the famine, the censorship, the killing, the execution and targeted systematic killing of people has been happening for decades in Palestine and hundreds of years in Ireland. Sinead.
So go on home, my web soldiers, go on home. Have you got no fucking homes of your own? For all of these years, we fought you without fear, and we'll fight you for eternity in harm. Well, if you stay, I web soldiers, if you stay, you'll never ever beat us, no way. 'Cause the blood of our martyrs fuels our intifadas. So take it in and fuck off home before you say. Go on home, Irish soldiers, go on home. Everybody! Have you got no fucking homes of your own? For all of these years.
I know Mo and the group, I know they won't be silenced. They won't be silenced by the Met or the British government. And it's worth saying and thinking about, since the last time we were here, I think it was 2 months ago, what has happened since. We saw Palestine action criminalised, we saw Bog building disgracefully criminalised, and we even seen the last few days Keir Starmer having the gall to come after one of the best literary persons in Ireland, Sally Rooney, to try and say, all these people, but Keir Starmer, don't you dare come for Sally Rooney, one of the best writers in the history of Ireland. And it's worth remembering that the biggest crimes of our generation are happening right in front of our eyes. At least 250 journalists killed in Gaza, at least 2,000 people killed in recent weeks coming for aid at so-called aid points and aid centres. And what does the British government do in that context? Not only do they try to criminalise Liam Kneecap and the artist that I mentioned before, but they still continue to pump weapons into Israel. They still continue to trade Israel. Shame on them!
Fuck the British government!
Shame on Keir Starmer for the elections and their morality. Westminster is complicit and should be complicit in genocide and apartheid. But also what we have to call out as well, in the north of Ireland, companies in the north are making parts that are going to make weapons to kill Palestinians in Gaza. They're going to slaughter hundreds of thousands of Palestinians. And they add insult to injury. They're given handouts, corporate handouts by the SNI, by the government. So we're calling out Westminster and its government's complicity in funding and normalising trade and relations with Israel. We have to call it out. We have to say we will not stand for it. And you obviously know about the Mo. How can you not? That's why you're here today. And I think it's important to let people know we have a real sinister development taking place. Obviously, you know what's happening in Britain, but in Ireland as well. A chilling phenomenon. Pensioners, pastors, and people who are protesting for Palestine. Some of them have t-shirts on them, some of them don't. They're being stopped, harassed, charged, and criminalised by the PSNI. And at the same time, the recent months, we've seen pogroms organised in Ballymena and Larne by loyalist paramilitaries. At the same time as this, we're seeing far-right vigilante groups in East Belfast going around targeting migrants, people of colour, people who are not white, beating them up and subjecting to real disgraceful, disgusting, racist harassment. We've also seen in the north of Ireland, and it's the same here as well, aggressive and racist protests outside temporary accommodation of migrants or asylum seekers. And who do the Met come after? Who do the PSNI come after? They come after Palestine solidarity artists and campaigners. Shame on them! Shame! So I want to ask you, who are the real terrorists? Is Mo a Kneecap terrorist? No! Are Palestine Action terrorists? No! Are Bob Dylan terrorists? No! Do you think Sally Rooney is a terrorist? No! What about Netanyahu's farmer? Are they terrorists? Yes! Absolutely. Solidarity, here's the Palestine. Come out.
Free Mo Chara! 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 Free Mo Chara!
Alex.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine!